Good. Michael, if you could just unmute yourself. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. It is this lovely, humid Tuesday here in Albany. So wherever you're joining us from, thank you so much. I'm Amelia Berry, which is still taking some getting used to, even almost a year later, the last name change. I am a sales manager here at the Albany Capital Center. I've been here since a year before we opened, so for about 4 years now. Goes without saying, this is extremely unprecedented, so we're all in this together. And we are here to talk a little bit about, not a little bit, a lot of it, about the hotel industry, the impact that COVID has had on specifically the local hotel industry. But first, we're going to take it over to Doug McLean, our lovely general manager. You should all know him, but he will let you know, he'll provide the info that you need to know about the building updates. We are going to do this little bit of a building recap each week that you're here with us to just keep you guys up to speed on what we've been doing and how our little Albany Capital Center is doing there. Doug?
Thanks, Amelia. First off, folks, just a couple housekeeping items. Reminder that if you could be courteous and mute your microphones. We do have the chat box for questions, and questions are encouraged. This is a interactive webinar, so the more questions, the better to keep the program moving along. As we have in the past, all questions will receive a written response, and we'll follow up with that after the webinar. And a friendly reminder that this webinar is being recorded. Quick building update. The facility here is into phase 4 in the capital region. Last week we were a day out, so we are into phase 4, and we're excited for that. Right now we are still limited to events of 50 people, so that's a little bit of a challenge for us, but we continue to navigate and are having some great dialogues with our partners in the Capitol Complex between the Times Union Center and the Empire State Plaza, as well as the Albany County and the Convention Center Authority on our next steps for opening up. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the facility. As we've talked the last two, we continue our Venue Shield program, which is ASM's hygiene protocols for all of our facilities that are opening. We also have our sanitizer, our cleaning procedures, and we are going through the GBOC Star Facility program for our certification. So all of that is moving right along and is great. One update here is we just wanted to make you all aware that we have engaged Clough Harbor Associates. They were our engineer of record, and we engaged them back in March, actually. So we started this right from the start, and we started talking about our HVAC and the efficiencies of the HVAC. I think we all know that Governor Cuomo last week has begun speaking of the MERV filter ratings and the HEPA filters and the requirements for some of the larger facilities. So we had actually engaged Clough Harbor back in March, as I mentioned, and continue to look at our efficiencies. I don't want to use the word improvements because that would incline that there's something wrong with our systems right now. So at this point right now, we are evaluating our existing systems and our procedures and looking at the safest operation for both efficiency and obviously our attendees. We are also looking at the coils for the HVAC and cleaning those and seeing what results give us the best option for a clean environment, both physically and through the air. So that's really all I had for a building update. I don't want to take up too much time. Tuesdays were becoming snooze days with the hour that I was taking. So with that, I'm looking forward to this program as much as you all. And Mike, thank you for joining us. But Amelia, I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Doug. And Ingrid, thank you so much for jumping in there. to let us know if anybody else is having any technical difficulties, or if you have any questions as we're going through this. We encourage you guys to please send them in the group chat. We've also got some folks monitoring our Facebook, so if you're watching us on there, feel free to just type in the comments as we go along. As I mentioned before, we are joined by a hotel expert. Our expert in the room today is Mr. Michael Hoffman. He is the owner of Turf Hotels, which is a local hotel management company here in the Capital District. They have 3 hotels in Albany County, 2 in Saratoga County, all of which have been award winners in their respective franchises. He also he has many accolades in the hotel industry specifically, but he also is a big part of our community here in Albany. He is on the board of directors and on advisory boards for 5 local organizations, including our very own Albany Albany Convention Center Authority. So, Mike, if there's anything else you'd like to add there?
No, you've got it covered more than fair.
Wonderful. So I'm sorry, I am in control of the PowerPoint today, and I am not doing a great job, so I apologize for that. Keeping it real. So bring us up to speed. What has the last 3 months looked like?
I mean, for us, it's been, and I think for every hotelier in Albany County and really across the state and across the country and around the world even, it's been devastating. It's our April was worse than we dreamt possible, to be honest. It caught us off guard. We were in Albany. We have 3 hotels in Albany, as Amelia said, and we had very good November, December, January, and February. All hotels were up, and we were cruising along pretty good in March, when all of a sudden this hit the fan, and excuse me, it just at first we didn't know the severity of it, and then it kind of just got more and more severe, and April was awful. I mean, the rest of March was awful. April was our first full month of coronavirus from day one right through the whole month. That was devastating, shocking, to be honest. And then we had May. May did an ounce better, but only an ounce. And you could really tell that this was a long-term problem, and it wasn't going to be solved quickly. We just had June is finished, and it was slightly better, but still horrible. And then here we are in July. We just got past July 4th weekend, and at one point we thought there might be a little bit of movement on Memorial Day at the end of May, and that really didn't materialize. July 4th had some travel. I mean, I said this earlier, the scene was set perfectly for July. It was, July 4th was a Saturday night, and the weather was perfect. But even when you have business, your rate is, significantly off. And, so we see improvement, but it's oh so slow, and we don't really, and, to be honest, we're in our summer season. This is, we have 2 hotels in Saratoga, but, even for our Albany hotels, our July and August is some of our best months. And it's shocking to us that we wake up and, 4th weekend's in the past now. And, this coming weekend in Saratoga would have been Dave Matthews. That's canceled. I mean, there's just all these big events that affect our whole area. And so we say it a lot, we often wake up and we got less rooms sold than we had the day before because cancellations just keep coming. Cancellations are coming faster than bookings.
Yeah, definitely not an easy thing for anybody. A bit of a interesting thought came to my mind. For many of the people that are joining us today, they are meeting planners. So sometimes summer seems slower for us, but it's not quite the truth for the hotel industry as a whole, especially in this area where we've got a lot of great things happening in the summer.
Well, it's when you can travel. I mean,
Yeah.
School's out in theory, so families can take vacations. And, I mean, in our business, it's just people stopping for a night's sleep, or, sometimes we're the destination, whether it be, Albany, whether for a group, whether for a concert, whether for anything. And, but this is the time that they travel. And, we like them when when they stop on their way coming up through, if they were in Florida for the winter, we like them when they're on their way to Canada, whatever the deal is. And it is our busy season, or it's one of our busy seasons. We're kind of blessed that we're not in a totally seasonal environment. We have 12 months in the year, and most of them are pretty decent, and you can do some occupancy in this area. But it's hard to believe our busy season is getting behind us.
Yeah,
It never got here.
definitely. Absolutely. Are you, so obviously the big thing with the industry as a whole right now is the shift from that busy season to let's prepare for when people are ready to get back to us. So tell us a little bit about what are those cleaning protocols that you're changing, and how does that impact the guest experience in any way, if it does?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things that have happened, and first of all, I'd say, I would tell meeting planners and everybody that when you stay in a hotel, if you're in a good hotel, you can be safe. Yeah, I mean, feel safe, feel secure, and get a good night's sleep. But rules have changed, and we kind of sometimes wonder what the new normal will be.
Mhm.
But today's world, I mean, in the past, when you checked into a hotel, if you checked in for 2 or 3 days, you had maid service every day. I mean, that doesn't happen anymore. You check in and you don't get housekeeping service until you check out, and then we clean it for the next guest, unless you opt in and request it. Clearly, if you request it, we'd love to do it, and we do it. I will say that, a lot of the amenities inside the room have been removed. The 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 quick cleaning points, but the stuff that gets touched a lot, doorknobs. I mean, they've been, they get sanitized before they get cleaned when the housekeeper cleans the room, and then at the Hilton product, when they're all done, the inspector goes back in and sanitizes doorknobs. They put a seal on the remote control after it's been cleaned, because remotes are one of the areas, if you've watched those, videos about, where they find germs in hotels, remotes is one of the areas. Thermostats, all of the areas that are high touch, get cleaned the second time by the inspector. And then there's a decal or a sticker that goes, or a cling that goes on the remote, that you have to, it's been sanitized and you have to remove it before you can use it. And then when they're all done cleaning the room, they put a seal on the door that you have to break the seal when you go in. And it's to try and give our customers confidence. But I'll tell you that I go to our hotels, I walk the halls. That's really what I do. I always want to see what we look like, and I'm pleased in all of our hotels. There was a period of time where, like, the restrooms off the lobby were closed. They just weren't even. They were just kind of in lockdown. And now they're cleaned, and they're on a schedule. They're cleaned every 2 hours, and more if there were a cause. But there hasn't been a cause. But all of the cleaning, in my opinion, is really going very well, very well. And there's been, the housekeepers got trained. The housekeepers had one-on-one conversations with every one of our our housekeeping managers had one-on-one conversations with every one of our housekeepers. And there's a lot of protocols, but the sanitizing, the cleaning, when you walk into the room, the hard surface areas, you spray, and you're supposed to let the spray sit on them for 10 minutes to totally do its job. So you kind of go and you spray the hard surfaces, and then you go to you do some of the other work in the room, and then you come back and clean it. But it's to me, it's very impressive. I think they're heroes. They're working so hard, and it's a shame that we're in this situation, but we're all in it, and we fight the fight every day. But I think you can rest assured that your rooms are clean.
That's great. So in terms of that guest impact, are there any fewer amenities in the rooms? Is anything different from a guest perspective, other than the fact that you have the opportunity to feel extremely comfortable with the level of cleanliness in your room?
Papers out of the rooms, pens and pencils are out of the rooms.
Gotcha.
The guides are out of the rooms. All of those areas that you can touch that other people could have touched before you have been removed. And, so we try and upon check-in, if you have any questions whatsoever, just give us a call. And, but any of the high touch areas that are just amenities have kind of been removed. And in some hotels, not all, but they're, if you're going to be there for 3 or 4 or a longer stay, they'll put in more shampoos. If they got coffee pots, they'll put in more coffee. Just trying to slow down the amount of contact between the housekeeper and face-to-face contact.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think all of the companies, the big hotel companies, on our end, we deal with IHG and Hilton. 4 of our 5 are Hilton, but I'm sure the Marriotts and the other good hotel companies out there, they've worked hard on this. They partnered with Lysol. One of them, they have partners that have put some effort, because it's easy to come up with a plan, but it's hard to come up with a plan that can work for 6,000 hotels. I mean, one of the obstacles that we're just getting our arms around now. I mean, they'd come up with some of these new rules, and then you couldn't buy the product. I mean, it was hard. Sometimes I think they got ahead of themselves, and our customers knew more about what was coming than we did, but we couldn't get the product in time to, why aren't you doing this? I see it on the website, and, we've got our order in, but we can't get it because all of a sudden 6,000 hotels wanted it.
Yep. Obviously. And I'll jump around a little bit because I think the policy section of this slide fits better into this section of the conversation. So you're talking about the policies that those 2 hotel companies put in place or are trying to mandate throughout their brand. What are those things? Are you enforcing mask wearing throughout the facility or in common areas? And is there any sort of a temperature check when guests or when staff arrive or anything like that?
Yes, thank you. No, absolutely, masks are required. There's a sign on the front door on every door leading into the hotel. It says masks are required. And on the employee side, it's easy for us to manage that. To be honest, it's just a rule. And we have these Zoom staff meetings today. The staff meetings aren't in person as much like they used to be, and it's kind of a battle that you never win. It's just a fight that you're in until this deal goes away. But I was on 2 of our Zoom calls today, and both there was comments from customers that we talk at our staff meetings, and in both cases it said I was really pleased because every employee I saw had a mask on, and that doesn't surprise me a bit because, as I said, I walk the halls and I see that. I was at a hotel yesterday, and we tell our customers you have to have a mask. They come in with a mask on, and then you see them and you kind of go, "Geez, you need to have your mask on here in public." And the good ones go get it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go get it, and I'll do it. And then it's funny. The customer's always right until they're not right, and they're not always right. We had one the other day. I was at one of our hotels, and the GM said, he wanted to this family wanted to extend their stay, and we told them no. We could not get them to consistently wear masks, and we asked them, at the end, we asked them to leave because our other customers were coming to us complaining about a group, or about a family. And but the large majority are abiding by the rules, and they understand it. And to be honest, they appreciate the work and the effort that's being put into it.
Great. Yeah. Controversial topic throughout the United States right now. So I'm happy to hear that you guys are, you're considering the greater good for the most amount of people, and it's.
And you had asked about temperatures. We take temperatures of our employees every day, and so I've gone around trying to prepare for this a little bit and asked all of our GMs, well, have you taken anybody's temperature and had it not be what it was supposed to? And fortunately, that has not yet happened. We if you're not feeling well, if you're home and you're not feeling well, and you call and say, I don't feel good today, I got a temperature, please don't come in, stay home. And if you feel like it's something's going on, you ought to go get tested. So we've the rules, I don't say they change, but you keep getting, I was saying this earlier, that I'm not sure that taking a temperature always is a sign that you don't have something going on, just because you don't have a temperature, because you just keep reading the stories. But it certainly is a good step, and one that we've done at all of our
Yeah,
hotels.
absolutely. And that's where the mask wearing comes in, right? When the
Yeah.
temperature doesn't, you don't have a temperature, but you never know. So it's good to know that, here in Albany, we've got, I'm sure, a lot more than just your own hotels, but a lot that are looking out for the guests that are coming into town. So now that we've covered those couple of topics, I'm going to dive into a bit of a more difficult, and I think perhaps a topic that a lot of you guys are interested to see. So in other destinations, there are a lot of hotels that are offering non-attrition penalties to group contracts, or they're being a little bit more lenient with their cancellation policies. We know that you can't speak for every hotel in the area, but what policies have you guys sort of adapted during this time for those sorts of situations?
Again, in our particular case, but I think this is true for other branded hotels and certainly for most hotels. We've Hilton has reduced the cancellation policy to 24 hours. So you can cancel anytime within before 24 hours is 3 o'clock check-in. You got the 3 o'clock the day before to cancel with no penalty. IHG, I believe, is the same day cancellation, maybe 6 p.m. So it's very lenient. But to be honest, we agree, as a hotel company, we very much agree with that, because our customers are our future business, and as much as we're disappointed that they're canceling, because they got a reason or a cause, and certainly that's on individual travel. Our hotels aren't huge group, we don't have huge meeting rooms anymore, but we do groups, and we've been very lenient with our groups, because actually we have the same cancellation policy on our end, and to be honest, when you had cancellations in late March, April, or May, you were almost in a shutdown position. You didn't have a choice. And then, a lot of our customers, and they're our customers, and they're great customers, would say, hey, maybe I can do this in September. And all of a sudden, here we are in July, and September isn't that far away. And you go, for us to not give them the same break, they're trying to help us and bring their group here. And to go against that is, again, I've been doing this for 46 years, and the hotel business, maybe all businesses, but all I know is the hotel business, it's about making friends. The more friends you got, the better you do. It's kind of simple.
Yeah,
You need friends.
And the clients, were trying to take care of them because they want to take care of their people. And
Yeah, no, that's right. It's exactly right. They got,
yeah, we're doing our best to keep everyone safe and healthy, as much as it hurts sometimes on a business level. It's all about that human to human connection,
Yeah.
which we're all missing a little bit right now, I think, right?
Yeah, it's funny, my wife and I get up in the morning, we go for a walk every day, and I often think people are friendly, we're in this battle together that, and social distancing, you start walking, somebody's coming the other way, and you move to the other side of the street, or you do whatever you do, but I hear more good mornings and that kind of comment in this area than I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that impress me.
I definitely agree, right? I go for runs in the morning, and I might cross the street because, I don't want to get too close, but I am screaming across the street,
Yeah,
hello!
no, it's
Just excited to see someone.
It's
So,
impressive.
yeah. So I know we've touched a little bit on the training, the additional conversations that you're having with your housekeeping staff, and the additional measures that you were taking, checking temperatures, enforcing mask wearing with your staff. What other sorts of training have you put your staff through? Your front desk people, are you communicating with guests that are coming in any exorbitant fashion? Are you adding an extra email before the check-in saying, don't forget your mask, because that phone, wallet, keys checklist has now added the mask, which is sometimes I forget and I have to turn around, but
yeah, no, we certainly at the front desk, and I say this, there's fewer check-ins today. Business is not good, and it's gone from horrible, where you would single occupancy. So really, there was a period, we had hotels that were open, that were beautiful, that on days that didn't rent any rooms. I never in my, we had a hotel that did 80% occupancy last year, and it had a couple of days where it didn't rent a room. So the staff is smaller, you know, many of our staff is furloughed. We're trying to start to bring some back. We have been bringing some back, but certainly there's plexiglass, you know, front. This morning on one of the meetings, we had plexiglass in front of where the two desk clerks normally are. And the comment was that, you know, people kind of just move to the side of it so the plexiglass isn't in the way. So this morning we're buying a larger plexiglass piece just
Yeah.
because there's a purpose to the plexiglass. It's to try and keep germs on one side and not just in the air moving around. So, you know, business has been slow. Management, you know, our management team there's been a lot of management positions that have taken shifts at the front desk. And, but you know, I would sit and tell you that they have, you know, they certainly have masks on. We're kind of encouraging digital key. Digital key is where you can check in on your phone, just one less piece of contact. You can check out on your phone, you can check in on your phone, and just things that can remove, you know, face-to-face contact. We certainly have markings on the floor to talk about, you know, social distancing, and when we have all of those. We were in a conversation yesterday for our food service, which I assume we'll talk about at some point, about food service and, you know, does it make sense to have one-way traffic? We had a hotel that kind of did that and it worked pretty well, but all the layouts are different. So what works in one hotel doesn't necessarily have to work in the next
Right.
hotel.
And food service is actually next. So if you want to go right into that, what are you seeing? Do your hotels have, or did they previously have a buffet? Are you moving that to in-room dining, or what are you seeing?
I mean, you know, I listened to Angelo Mazzone a couple of weeks ago talking here, and there's nobody that knows more about food than he does. But, you know, breakfast buffets that we had are gone. You know, they're not, and when business was really, really slow, the brands in many cases kind of dictated if your occupancy is at this level, this is what you ought to be doing. And if you're pick up to the next step. And you know, business has picked up here now that we're in July. It just hasn't picked up enough, in my opinion, and I probably never will. And but so you know, we have some hotels that are doing some occupancy, and if there's a buffet, we have a server. The server would pick up the plate. You know, what would you like? I'd like scrambled eggs and bacon and hash browns or whatever, and he would serve it, or you know, he or she would get the plate, put the food on, set it down on the table. The customer would pick it up, and you know, to be honest, 95% plus they take it to the room to eat it. They just, you know, I mean, you know, and it's restaurants, and I talk to restaurateurs, you know, their outside dining areas are doing quite well. The inside dining, oh no, I'll wait till you got a table outside.
Right.
So, you know, the large majority of our customers are eating in the rooms, and but we're, you know, I read the comments. They're very appreciative, and and you know, the good customer clearly understands what you're going through.
Right. We just talked about that a little bit before, right? There's people that get it in this business, and there's people that need a little help to understand. So it's good that you guys are seeing, you know, most people are being supportive and understanding. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, if I had the opportunity pre-COVID to get breakfast from a buffet and go up to my room and eat it without being judged harshly, I probably would take that extra 5 minutes to put on my makeup or something similar like that. So, and I think last for the questions that we have prepared for you at least is, what happens if someone comes into your hotel and is showing symptoms? What's the scenario there? Have you talked about a crisis plan or something similar?
We have, you know, and I wish I got people on our teams that are better at this than I am. But you know, we have talked about it. It has not yet happened, and but clearly, you know, I think that comes into where the tracing comes into, and you know, where have you been? And you know, it's a two-way street. We worry as much for our customers as we do for our employees, and you know, I had said earlier, my heart goes out to our employees that do this day in and day out. I mean, to all employees, not just hotel employees. Or you know, it's kind of unbelievable to me because everybody is looking at things from a different circumstance. And but you know, we would certainly, a lot of it you wouldn't know. I mean, if you were checked into a room and you had a temperature, unless you told us, we wouldn't know it. Certainly, if you told us, you want us to call a doctor and, and move this to the next step. What this does lead me into a little bit or thought is we got these states that are on quarantine. And so if you're coming to stay in a hotel and you're from one of these quarantine states, we're supposed to say, hey, you're coming from Florida, that's on the quarantine list. You're supposed to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. And, we've had a number of internal discussions and at staff meetings. We can't be the police. I mean, that we can't be, I don't know. We don't have enough staff on, we don't have the training and those type of issues. And, but our word for our employees and our word for everybody, if you don't feel good, quarantine at home and see what happens. And then if symptoms, if you feel like it's getting worse, you got to see a doctor.
Right. And that you mentioned you can't be the police, so there is such a large amount of self-policing that needs to happen. But fortunately, that's also where those proactive measures come in: the extra cleaning, the plexiglass, the mask wearing.
You're
the touch
great
points.
point.
So,
You're exactly right. I sit here and talk about our hotels, but I think I'm talking about all hotels, certainly all good hotels. And if you're doing this and you're making it work, you're probably a good hotel. Today in Albany County, there's a lot of very good hotels.
awesome.
We're lucky.
Yeah, we certainly are. We're certainly lucky to have a partner like yourself to come and spend an hour with us here.
It's a pleasure.
So we've gotten through most of the prepared questions that we had for you, but we did get quite a few while we were chatting. So some of the things we may have touched on, but we're just going to talk about them again, if that's okay. So
Sure.
The first of those, as Shannon is sending them to me from the chat box, the first is, what are the protocols for gyms and pools?
All right. No, great question, by the way. For a long time, pools were closed, and they opened maybe with phase 3 in hotels. I mean, I think that's where they opened. And we have a protocol there. We allow, and we've modified this. I mean, pool rooms have a number of people that are allowed to be in them. And initially, and we're still doing this at all 5 of our hotels. If you want to use the pool, you got to come down to the front desk and you got to notify the front desk, because we started this protocol allowing 10 people at a time into the pool. And, that kind of allows for social distancing, and didn't want to get the pool too crowded, because behind every rule is the social distancing doesn't go away. You just can't fill it up with people and have them close together. And, pools are a hot spot for us. They need to be controlled and watched to the extent that you can. And so we had them come down to the front desk. The pools are locked. We gave you a key. You had to get a key at the front desk to get you into the pool. You would sign up for like an hour and a half. If nobody was after you, you could stay longer. But we were trying to make it so we could get because pools helped our business. I mean, we had a lot of calls when pools were closed saying, is your pool open? And they weren't, ours were not. They were not supposed to be open at that stage, and they were not open. So we didn't want to get too many people in there and monopolize the pool and make it inaccessible for others. So we started off with 10 people in each room, and 2 of the pools we've raised to 10 to 20. And I think the amount that you can actually do is easily 25. We still want them to come down to the front desk. We still want them to get a key. When there's people in the pool room, we try and just manage it a little closer than we did in the past, just for social distancing and behaving purposes. And so that's the pool deal, is the way we're doing it. Fitness centers are still not allowed. I mean, it's, one of our pet peeves a little bit is that they're not allowed, because they're really not big gyms like you see that, that where the concern may or may not, or should be. But it's I know that Hilton was going to have, if you had 3 treadmills, they had a sign made that said that, they would put it on the center one saying, this one's, I'm sorry, I'm out of order because for social distancing. But fitness centers in New York are not allowed to be open yet, and ours are not. And, yeah, I don't think it's just for people that are there for a long-term stay. I think they enjoy their workout and, but they're not allowed to be open yet. And I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I mean, there's people trying to make that move faster, but I don't see it moving much yet, personally.
Gotcha. I think what you've done for the pools though, since you're able to, I love that idea. Like what a simple idea. Just instead of having access to it all the time with your room key or your app, then go in,
Yeah,
sign up,
you
get
know,
a
to be
key.
honest, that wasn't my idea. I mean, we have a great team, but I think it's an excellent idea. And pools are dangerous.
So on to the next question. Are you using any new technology to connect guests with in-house apps or mobile menus or anything like that?
Well, when I came down here, I said, I'm not really all that technical. So that's a difficult question for me. I
Okay.
don't know of any, and I'm not saying we're not, but it's funny. We at the end of the staff meeting, we go around, everybody gets their chance to talk, and the hotel business is still the hotel business. It's just different, I mean, but I sit back and say, it's got to look good on the outside to entice somebody to come on the inside. And when you get inside, you got to make sure that it's spotlessly clean. I mean, today more than ever, you're scrutinized at a level, and it's got to be spotlessly clean. And the staff really has to be friendly. If you're not friendly, you can get yourself in trouble. And that is the hotel business. Today, you're just doing the hotel business around COVID-19, and maybe technology is in there, but outside of like digital key, there, all the brands had things that they were moving towards that were nice on technology. And then in some cases, I can't speak for all brands, everybody's been financially hit, and the brands have just stopped the deadlines of this has to be done by such and such a date because you were putting a burden on hoteliers that couldn't possibly do it.
Right, or that needed to shift those budgets to the
Yeah,
other
no, I mean, that's
policies
exactly.
that
I
they
mean,
were
it's a shift
right.
the
Yeah,
budget, it's a shift the emphasis.
right,
So technology continues to come into our industry in a big way. I just don't know of anything that's COVID related.
right. Specific to re-engaging at least. So one other question that we have. What are you doing to re-engage potential customers? Has your marketing changed in any way, shape, or form?
We're working at that. That's
It's a
we-
tricky
we-
thing, right? 'Cause
it's very touchy, because there's a tremendous number of our customers that are currently working from home, and even having groups being allowed to come by some companies is not. We reach out to a lot of them that are our customers, and you certainly look for new customers. It's funny. One of the best things in our business to get new customers was always to mingle at breakfast time and say, who do you work for? You got anybody else that's traveling with you? I mean, you could kind of go down and you could try and get yourself some more business. And then today, nobody's done it for breakfast.
right.
So I mean, that don't work. But we, our sales managers and directors reach out to clients, and every week there's a list, and we have not had much luck thus far because our customers don't really know what the story, where we're headed yet in this mess either. So I mean, we're working it, but we're not having a lot of success.
Right. Okay. Next question. Are you struggling with keeping your staff? Are you, how's your workforce? Are you hiring? Are you looking for people? Are people a little worried about coming back to work?
Well, all of the above, by the way. We furloughed a lot of employees, and we've been slowly in all 5 hotels bringing people back. 2 of our hotels had extended stay groups that were there for a long term, so they haven't been hit to the extent that some have. And but as we bring back, some staff, we got heroes that have come. We call up and say we need you on Thursday and Friday, and then next Tuesday in the morning, and then Thursday in the afternoon, and yep, I'll be there, all set.
Yeah.
And I mean, the great just rise to the top. I mean, and they're in all different levels. Others equally great, but they just, this virus has them scared. Some are at at-risk age or at-risk, health reasons, and they're just hesitant to come back. So, that's okay too. And, but we are, at our staff meetings, we are hiring. We're certainly trying to bring back existing staff first. And, but situations have changed for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, so it's been really hard on the staff, I think.
Yeah. I hear you. The staff that's still here definitely are essential workers. They're heroes, right? We can count on them for everything, and happy to have them and excited to bring everybody back when we can.
At the end of the day, we're going to be better because, and just from a hotel perspective, we're learning how to run the hotels, and some of the when you don't get as much housekeeping as you used to. Some of the rules are changing, and I don't think they're going to change back real quick. And that's just an opinion, but I think it's probably right. And so we're going to be, and maybe in some cases leaner. This is a chance for a great, you're looking. This is an opportunity for a lot of people, and it's I don't know how long it's going to take before it gets back, but we have some awesome staff.
Yeah.
We're blessed.
Great. Yeah, we've mentioned that earlier, right? We'll be stronger at the end of this. It's just from now to that point, it's just hanging on.
It's like a marathon, though.
Absolutely. That's one of Shannon's favorite quotes to tell me, because I'm a little bit more, I want it now. I want that immediate satisfaction. And Shannon's always like, it's the long game. So she's been right.
No, I think she's very right.
She's over
It's
there giggling.
I don't know when it'll end, but it's you can look into the immediate future. It certainly isn't gonna, in my opinion, be over in August. It's not it's not gonna be over in September. It's I think hopefully things will continue to improve on every front, and then it'll start to pick up.
Yeah. So I think that sort of goes into this next question is, we're not quite there yet, but have you placed a capacity limit on the total amount of guests that will be allowed in your hotels?
Well, what we've done, to be honest, I might not be answering this exactly. Certainly for our meeting rooms, and our meeting rooms are small, we have our sales managers and managers have gotten together and we've set them up so we know how many, when we're talking to clients, we can talk to them now and meet the social distancing requirements. So certainly the numbers, but we don't have big meeting rooms. And to be honest, in any of our hotels. So, there we've set requirements. We've taken tables out of our breakfast areas and our lobbies, and where people eat. And as I said, 95% of them eat in their guest room anyway today. But we've removed tables. Our goal still is to try and rent all our rooms. We haven't said we got 133 rooms in this hotel. Let's rent 90 of them. And I don't see that coming either. And we got enough. Problem is that's not our problem. Is the problem.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I hear you. So I think that's all of our questions, unless anyone else wants to chime in with another one. Thank you so much.
I hope it helped.
Doug's looking at me like he has something to say.
I got to jump in. I had a couple of questions. Mike, one question. You have the Hilton brand, you have IHG that you work with. The protocols. Did all the hotel brands come together and kind of issue a hotel standard, or was it each individual brand developing their own? And I guess did you take IHG and Hilton, put them together, and then knowing yourself, and as you say, you walk and have your own standards. Just curious on your protocols of are those your minimums just based on the way you operate, or a little bit of expanding on that?
I don't think the hotel companies got together. There's the American Hotel and Lodging Association is lobbying hard on our American Travel Association. So those are the umbrellas that are across the whole country. The brands have, I think, done it individually. The IHG's with the Mayo Clinic, Hilton's with Lysol, and they've just teamed up with experts. And so, on our end, we kind of got to stay with what the brands dictate. I can't say, well, we like this better from IHG, even though it's a Hilton branded deal. But they're more similar than different. And they absolutely have a common goal of taking care of the customer and keeping our employees safe. I mean, and you know, and then on a personal note, I've been doing this a long time, but at some point in time, I figured out that it's all about quality. So, the better you can be, the more successful you are. So we've we would never, and the other hoteliers in this market are no different. You would never sacrifice safety over dollars, and but for us, it's all about quality. So we welcome these comments that come our way. If this is it caught us off the blue, it caught everybody off the blue, out of the blue, and it's so we're just fight to fight every day, but we try and do it at the best level that we can. Hope that answers your question, but it's close.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks. And one other thing that you said that, you said the customer was number one. And we talked to, our corporate office always said, when as a management facility, says that renewal starts on day one. You sign your contract to operate the building, and day one is the beginning of your renewal period. And I think that resonates a little bit to what we're all experiencing now. We have here at the facility, when you were talking about the cancellation policies, you just like, how do you tell somebody, sorry, you can't do it, given the times or whatever. So I think really it's those customer relationships, with our clients that are helping, and that will carry us. And I think specifically Albany, in this market, and all of our partners working together, because it is, we may receive a cancellation notice, but your next business just started right after that cancellation. They said, I'm sorry, I can't work here, but okay, or I can't do this date. Okay, that's fine. When are you going to do the next date? Because I think that's is your next sales pitch. So I thought that was a good point. And I personally thank you for your commitment to Albany. As Amelia said, you're working on the board for Discover Albany and here in the authority, and obviously you've been a staple in the market for a long time. So we appreciate it, and certainly appreciate your time. And I'm done now, Amelia. So I'll go back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to echo Doug's thoughts. Thank you so much.
No, I'm glad. I'm proud to be here, to be honest. And it's a great market, and I'm comfortable that it'll come back. I don't know when, and it's I spend a lot of time at home. I got CNBC on as I'm sitting doing these Zoom calls. I got it on mute and just watching stuff. And the world's been hit. I mean, the restaurants have been hit, retail's been hit, airlines have been hit. It just and it's we've dug ourselves in a big hole, but we'll get through this. I just one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's a fight.
Absolutely. Do you mind? Can you share the lovely quote?
Oh
that
yeah,
you brought
no, I
in?
mean, I meant to. I wanted to
everyone will
sneak this
enjoy
in.
this.
So I was at a staff meeting last week, and we often, if you had a face-to-face meeting, and like in the old days, there was always a packet of the staff meeting. It would have future forecasts in it. It would have, guest comments. We talk about everything at our meetings, and often on the front page there's a quote, and the quote could be inspirational or something that's trying to get everybody moving in the same direction. And last Tuesday at one of our staff meetings, our sales manager's quote was, "If you would like to know how it feels to be in hospitality during the coronavirus pandemic, remember when the Titanic was sinking and the band continued to play? Well, we're the band." And that was appropriate last week. It's appropriate today, and my guess is it'll be
Yeah.
They're heroes. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you again. Thank you all for participating and joining us today. Next week, we'll have another one for you. So look for the information about this one. Next week, we'll be joined by the lovely Shannon Lasiewicz and Sean Wilcoxon with not getting rid of that guy. And then we'll be talking about hospitality and food and beverage. So it's a big one. I know Shannon and I have been fielding a lot of the questions that our clients are having about that topic in particular as well. So we're looking forward to seeing you all again. And thank you to all of the partners, the Convention Center Authority, ACES, Turf Hotels, Discover Albany, and our lovely ladies from Baker PR that are here with us today too. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.